Welcome, Star Wars fans, to episode 132 of Tatooine Sons. When we first see Count Dooku, we learn that he was a highly respected Jedi Master, a former member of the Jedi Council, and Master to Qui-Gon Jinn. And what's really amazing is that the story he tells Obi-Wan Kenobi of a corrupt Senate being controlled by a Dark Lord of the Sith is true. Things aren't always as they seem with Darth Tyrranus. But before we discuss that, we'll give more of our thoughts about the trailer for Season 2 of The Mandalorian and more.
As you see, my Jedi powers are far beyond yours.
It's time for Tatooine Sons.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the Porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that Porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody listen.
Welcome, Star Wars fans. This is Tatooine Sons, your weekly look into all things Star Wars from the unique perspective of a father sharing his love for the amazing space fantasy saga with his two sons. I am BB Nate, and I'm joined first by my brother, Samuel the Hutt.
To Star Wars fans, thanks for tuning in. And if you're not a Star Wars fan, then you should become one, because this October, there is all sorts of stuff coming out for Star Wars fans. It is awesome.
October's going to be great.
October's amazing.
It's been a lot of fun already.
True.
Yeah. This last week was like, oh, wait, there's real Star Wars news. So,
pretty much.
It was like no rumors and stuff. So,
And of course, you can't have Star Wars without bizarre father figures. So on that note, here's my dad, the Bowtie Jedi.
Are you mad at me or something?
No.
You were very...
Well, it's very direct and
From your
abrupt.
face looked...
Yeah, of course. There's...
What was that?
It's like not as direct or what I was
Wow.
doing. I don't know what I was doing.
Okay, so
Let's just
that's
move
cool.
on.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Fine.
This afternoon?
Fine.
Been a rainy day here in Orlando,
Yeah.
like all day long. It was like I couldn't even go running or walking or whatever I do.
It was nice, though. I slept in.
You guys
It
slept
was
in.
all nice.
I got up. I got dressed. I read my Bible. I did all my stuff, and then the heavens came down.
Like, did they
But
actually...
glory did not fill my soul, for those of you that go to church. That old hymn. Anyway, it was like rain like crazy, and I couldn't run. So
Yep.
I was kind
You
of
run?
bummed. Well, I
How you
run,
walk?
walk, do a little bit of both, depending on how I feel that day. But I had my podcast stuff ready to go in my earbuds. And
Your earballs?
My earbuds. I had that doesn't work. And then I had my podcast loaded on my phone or my Apple Watch.
You're having a hard time.
I was ready to go, so I couldn't do it. So,
I'm sorry.
but we aren't even supposed to be here.
Nope.
And there was like just a few days ago, I wasn't even sure we were going to be recording this weekend.
Yeah,
We were going to try to do it Thursday night, but I wasn't 100% sure it was going to happen. And then we decided not to go to Orange Beach, Alabama. Reason being,
There was a hurricane that,
Yeah.
destroyed almost everything. Well, not everything, but it caused major damage. A lot of people lost power. It was really bad. But things are getting better now. More and more people are getting their power back and stuff. So
A lot of people have gotten power.
yeah,
so.
most people have gotten.
it's pretty
power.
devastating, though, the damage and such. And we've got family there. Obviously, your grandparents, me, mom, papa, Christy's parents live there. We've got friends there that
We're affected.
we're affected, and families that are having to live together, and people that evacuated because they weren't even sure power was going to be back for a couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
they got most of the power back from what we understand, so we're very gracious about that. Hoping we get to go back. We were supposed to be there this weekend. Got some stuff that we're going to be doing there as soon as we can get the medical appointments rescheduled,
Yep.
and then going back up there. So,
We'll see.
yeah, you guys have had a busy couple of weeks. You especially, Sam.
Yeah, I've been studying for the college composition CLEP exam. So I ended up not.
But let me clarify here, though. There's a lot of people that don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go through and
what a
explain
CLEP
that.
exam.
Yeah, I'm
is.
going through that right now.
So-
So I ended up dropping my actual college classes this semester just for numerous reasons, and I decided I would CLEP the courses I need. Now a CLEP is standardized exam that you take that gives you college credit for whatever course it counts towards. So in my case, this college composition course counted for their second English class at this college. So basically it allows you to take a test for knowledge you already have or already know most about and get credit, so you don't have to pay for the class, you don't have to go all semester. I mean, I studied and took the test within maybe 4 weeks at tops. And then
I don't even think it was 4 weeks.
And then
it was 2 weeks that you were studying for it. It wasn't much at all.
And the program I used to study for it and everything, it's going to be completely free. So I basically just took a college class for free in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it's a really good system.
It's going to help a lot.
Now I'm clapping another one.
And BB Nate, you're going to be doing some of those as well, right?
I'm doing one right now, but
which course is
the same one?
Same one. Mm-hmm. So you're going to take the test here before too long. That'll be good.
Yeah.
With it, and then Nathan's got concurrent enrollment with college. Got accepted. Did you know you got accepted?
I do.
Okay, I didn't know if Mom told you because you weren't in the room when she got the email, and she forgets sometimes to say, because it wasn't.
I don't know what classes I'm going to take, but
yeah. So he's doing concurrent enrollment, college, high school at the same time, trying to knock out a bunch of the college stuff.
It'll be fun.
With some CLEPs and some other college level stuff, and
basically, Mom said that the college classes are going to be the fun ones.
Do you know what they're going to be, or any of them?
Just not generals, like not science, math, English, history, that kind of stuff.
You're going to CLEP that stuff, right?
No, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm clipping it. I might be. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I just go.
Mom
along
does
with
all
the
that
flow.
stuff.
She figures it out, and I do it because she tells me to. So,
well, that's the way that homeschooling works. So, not a problem with it. So, and then what are you hoping to be studying college level? What course of study are you going after? Like direction, major, focus?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you guys had talked about that.
I know I want to work in film. I've always loved films. I've loved movies. I can always watch a movie, no matter what time it is. And I don't know, but I don't know where I'm going to go into that. I was leaning to sound mixing, and I think that I'm still kind of leaning to that, and because that'd be fun. And learn the mistakes that Tenet made.
Yeah, explain what that means, because we've seen Tenet twice now.
Yes, so there was a problem with Tenet, and everybody's been agreeing that the sound mixing wasn't great. Now, what my job would be was that after all the sounds were recorded, after they were already leveled by the sound editors, I would be going in as the final finished product. I'd be the last step in making sure that the movie is ready for release. I'd be leveling all the voices above sound effects and music, and making sure that
the dialogue and audio and such.
And you ever noticed, at the end of a conversation, that sometimes the music rises? That would I'd be doing, and I'd just be recording that, and it doesn't take too long because you have to. It's a long break, and then about 3 to 4 weeks of a huge rush. Sometimes people go a full 4 days without sleep, going constantly because.
And this sounds appealing to you.
It does, because I'm the first one to see the finished product. No. But no, it's 4 weeks of seeing the same movie. Does that sound fun to you, Sam?
No.
I
don't think
it does to BB Nate. So.
It does.
Well, that's cool.
So I don't think we've really talked about Tenet.
No, we haven't.
Not on the podcast. No.
Yeah, so talk about it. What do you guys think about it now that we've seen it twice?
Oh, it's great. It's really, really good. I mean, most of Christopher Nolan's films are good, but this one, it really keeps you thinking the whole way through. It's really tough to grasp the first time you watch it. You should definitely go and watch it a second time. Because once you watch it the second time, you notice more things, and it's just more enjoyable to watch. It's easier to watch in a sense. Because you kind of understand, this is what's happening here, this is why this is happening, because there's so many different things. I mean, it's about time travel. That's pretty clear. I'm not spoiling anything here. It is about time travel. But there's so many different interlacing storylines.
But it's a version of time travel that is very different than what you've seen. It's not Back to the Future Endgame level time travel where you decided to go to a spot in time and you just go to it.
Right.
With it.
It's actually called time inversion.
Yeah, it's very cool, and you should watch it, and I definitely... If you like Christopher Nolan, you need to watch this film. If you're like Mom, who would be never watch Memento, get frustrated by that film, has watched Inception and thinks it's too confusing and doesn't like it, didn't like Interstellar.
She didn't like Prestige.
I think she's okay with Prestige.
Oh, okay.
But those films are not her thing because it's confusing and things change at the end, and you get caught off guard, and you have to think about it sometimes 2 or 3 times. Like we watched Memento recently, and we had to go back and watch it again the second time the next night. that type of situation. That's not the kind of movie you like, then this isn't for you. But if you like Christopher Nolan, you like Inception, you like Memento, you like Interstellar and those types of things, then you really should check out this film. So
it's a lot of fun.
And then because we may be going to
Orange Beach
here before too long for a weekend. We do most of our conversations with Star Wars, our recordings, and all that stuff on Saturdays and Sundays, most of the time Sundays. It may put a kink in releasing our first few episodes of the Star Wars Rebels Revisited, but we're going to do our best to try to nail that down and get that going. But that's coming hopefully early October as we move things forward. All right, so you guys ready to start talking about some Star Wars stuff and not everything else?
Not everything? Yes.
All right, let's talk about last week's podcast poll of the week.
Are you brainless? I never asked that question.
Oh, good Lord.
Until after I've done it. What?
It wouldn't be a Tatooine Sons podcast without some problem in it.
That was weird. It stopped.
You just stopped it and went.
I didn't stop it. It did it on its own. I was just sitting here and it stopped. All right. Last week's podcast poll of the week. I was going to go ahead and start that segment again, but I'm not going to. All right. I just don't even care. So at this point, I'm just going to have fun. All right. Who was the true villain? Last week we talked about Dryden Voss. So, who was the true villain? I can't get words out. Villian. Hold on.
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Who was
going to be a long podcast?
Who was the true villain of Solo: A Star Wars Story?
I got a bad feeling about this.
We had 269 votes. Not bad. We need to do better. That's on you, not on us.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not really. Please vote. Okay. We had 269 votes. Dryden Voss, Tobias Beckett, or Maul. And
this was relatively close.
It was a lot. Well, no, it was a runaway. It was a little close between Dryden Voss and Maul. The idea of Beckett being the bad guy was one that people didn't.
I thought you were going to put Kira in there for fun.
No, I didn't. Some people did. Some people tweeted
really?
Tweeted gifs of Kira and stuff like that. She's the bad guy.
I got some ideas.
I don't think she was the bad guy.
No, I don't either.
With it, and Tobias Beckett's just Tobias Beckett, right? He's just being himself with this. But there was some conflict between Maul and Dryden Voss. Dryden Voss did win. Maybe it was because of the arguments that we made in the podcast.
It has to be.
Definitely. Hold on, we'll just go ahead and do this again.
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
Yeah. Dryden Voss got 46.8%. Tobias Beckett got 15.2%. And Maul got 37.9%. Surprised by these votes?
No, that's about what I would expect. Yeah.
Did you think Maul was going to get as much of a vote on that? Just because all he does is really show up at the end.
No, I think it makes sense. I mean, he is the puppet master of it all. So I think it makes sense that he wouldn't be the top, but it makes sense he's above Beckett for
sure.
The
arguments for Maul being the bad guy were pretty good. A couple of them. I think I've got one of them on here. Who's got the first one? Yeah. Well, I'll do the first one. So it's WSTR Media, Todd Hoffman, and oh my gosh, I cannot remember, Carla and Heather. Oh gosh, I can't remember everybody involved in that show, but it's a good show. You should check it out. WSTR Media. Is this even a question? I love it when somebody tweets that, because yes, it is a question. That's why I asked it.
And that's why there's a question mark at the end.
I thought first.
Anyway.
Maybe it's rhetorical.
I think it was. Voss is just a pawn to Maul. Counter with, who is a villain in A New Hope, Tarkin or Vader?
Well, that's a good counter argument.
Explain the argument there as to what they're trying to say in connection with Voss and Maul.
Well, I mean, Tarkin of that film could be considered the villain, right? Because he's the face of the, he blows up Alderaan and all that, but he's not the bad guy. You could make an argument for Vader, but I think ultimately it is still the Emperor. Tarkin is still just being controlled by the Emperor, or I guess to an extent Vader in this.
Well, I think it was talking about more like Tarkin's I guess, I don't know. I kind of got the idea that it was talking about Tarkin was not really the main bad guy. Vader was. But Tarkin seemed to be, I don't know.
That's not what I get from, but you get where they're, like, the point they're trying to make with it. Like, there's a villain who's the face of it, but not necessarily the bad guy behind the scenes.
Good. Who's got the next one?
That's me. This is from Blog of the Hutt, which I kind of like that name because
Samuel the Hutt likes Blog of the Hutt.
It's actually clever.
Is it like Blogger?
Yeah, it's like Blog of the Hutt.
Like Blogger.
Blog of the Hutt. I can't do it like
Blog
you.
of the Hutt. You know what I'm saying? It's like Blogger.
I can't do that.
He's a blogger. You know what I'm talking about? He's a blogger. He blogs. That's what he calls him. It's a blogger.
You done?
I'm done.
Okay. They commented, Dryden, period. Maul is the head honcho, but he seems like he was remote from what was actually going on there. Beckett was only trying to save his own skin. If things had gone differently, then Beckett and Solo would have parted as friends. Period. Wow. That's a good.
Blog of the Hutt knows what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point, though. Had Beckett not, turned, I think they would have still remained friends.
Well, yeah. Generally speaking, when you don't sell
When you
somebody
don't
out,
stab
to
somebody in the
a
back.
guy,
You know what I mean?
It's hard to remain friends after that.
Stop
honestly,
poking holes in my argument.
All right, you got the next one.
All right, we have.
Just say it.
Bupenheim Mew.
He picked this one solely to be able to say Bupenheim Mew.
It's a fun name.
It is.
At
Bupenheim Mew.
I don't know if I should spell it or not. I'm gonna let you figure that out.
Bupenheim MEW. There we go. Not Mew. It's like
Mew, like a cat. But not
Maybe
really.
the real villain. Can you let me finish my statement? Or no, Bupenheim Mew's statement? Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty rude. We're talking over a guest that's not really on the show.
So. Wow.
Maybe the real villain was the friends we made along the way.
I knew somebody was going to say that. When I posted this tweet and I said who was the true villain of Solo: A Star Wars Story, I knew somebody was going to say something like that because that's such a Twitter thing to say. So, all right. This week's poll, because we're going to be talking all about Count Dooku.
Should we answer this poll now?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it for us. Yeah. Okay. Which expression of Count Dooku? Which version of Count Dooku? I get tired of asking which version of something, so I thought I'd change it up this time and say expression of Count Dooku.
Oh wow, a nice vocabulary, diction. I learned about that in.
I've been doing writing lately, and so
yeah.
You doing the English clip too?
No, I'm not. Which expression of Count Dooku is your favorite? Vote and reply with your why. Prequel films, Clone Wars, or Dooku Jedi Lost.
Who's
Sam? Go first.
I don't. If I had to guess right off, initial instinct, I would go with
what
Clone
you
Wars.
want.
Right.
This is the one you want.
Which one do I think is my favorite?
Yeah,
I would go with Clone Wars.
Wow.
I'll explain it.
Oh,
you'll
explain later.
Ha!
Right. BB Nate.
Ha! It's also an excuse for me to give myself time to think.
I'm gonna go for Dooku Jedi Lost. I know that's Dad's topic later, but it is my favorite version of Dooku.
It is interesting to see that.
I love
whole
the
storyline
version of early Dooku we get, and how he wasn't all the way terrible. He was
all the way terrible.
All the way. I mean, he had his moments of bad. Okay.
I'm going to argue in just a few minutes. I like Dooku Jedi Lost best as well. I'm going to argue that the Dooku of that audio drama is actually a better Jedi than most of the true Jedi. And
wow. Interesting.
Who's yours? Yours.
Hot take.
I just said it. Dooku Jedi Lost. I just
said it.
Okay.
Pay attention. All right.
You underestimate my power.
That was the wrong one. I meant to click this one.
I have spoken.
All right, there we go. This week has actually provided a lot of significant Star Wars news as opposed to, rumors and leaks and all the general silliness of Star Wars. There's a short character preview from Star Wars Squadrons, a little more info about Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Oh, and then there was that, I don't know, there was a trailer for The Mandalorian. That's all up next on Hot Takes.
This is where the fun begins.
Well, you want the bad news or the really bad news?
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
All righty then. War's over, imp. That's like the line I remembered from.
Well,
I think that's one of the only
word
lines.
imp is a recent addition in Star Wars. I only really started noticing it in Fallen Order. I remember them saying
Calling
that
somebody
a lot.
an imp, short for Imperial.
Yeah. I kind of like that. That's interesting that they put that into Star Wars. I don't know.
Slang against.
War's over, imp. EA and Star Wars release a CG short for Star Wars Squadrons. We're going to go straight to an article that was fantastic if you want to learn more about it on Polygon.com. You can watch the video there, but then the article was really good. That's why I picked it. It's a new trailer for Star Wars Squadrons was released on Monday, showing the aftermath of the Battle of Endor from the Imperial perspective. You can
kind of like Battlefront 2, but a different,
very similar.
Anyway,
you can view the 7-minute video there on that article or on YouTube. The evocative clip from EA's Motive Studio takes players to the Imperial dockyards over Varsha, a jungle planet with deep canyons and flat green plateaus. And that's where the Imperial Star Destroyer Overseer is fighting a delaying action against an overwhelming New Republic force. A starbase identical to the design shown in Rogue One, a Star Wars Story, is seen breaking up and falling from orbit, and much of the action takes place in atmosphere. The action includes a cat and mouse dogfight between a masked New Republic X-Wing pilot and a highly skilled TIE squadron leader flying an interceptor. It's clearly designed to give the good guys a bad name, highlighting a bloodthirsty duel between a fresh X-Wing and a heavily damaged TIE interceptor.
We have a mission for you.
How does this short make you feel about the future of the campaign mode in the game?
Well, I just want to mention one thing before I answer that. A lot of people have said that this short reminds them of the shorts for the Old Republic game. If you've seen some of those cinematics, it's a very similar feel. It's a really highly polished CG short that has to do with the game, which I think is really cool that they're kind of bringing that back, but for new Star Wars. So,
like intense story drama and things like that built into it. But they've done that in these other games, haven't they, with Fallen Order and such?
They haven't done any CG shorts like this.
So, okay, explain to me the difference then for these old guys, you know, that don't
at least
really
you admit you're old.
Know what we're talking about. What's the difference between a CG short like this and what you're saying with Old Republic and the cutscenes in Battlefront 2 and Jedi Fallen Order?
So they're just promotional material, but they're different from a trailer in that it has its own little story to it. And it's not a cutscene because it may not necessarily be from the game itself. It's just a short story material that's used to get people interested in the game, get people interested in the characters and the story, which is exactly what they did with the Old Republic. There's like 5 or 6 shorts that are like 7 minutes long, and I've watched them all. They're really interesting. And
for the Old Republic or for
Old Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic.
See, this is why I get confused.
Yeah. So that was all promotional material, and it was usually for like new main updates to the game and stuff. But in this case, they're just using this to, build hype for Squadrons. But I appreciate that they're going back to that mode. I don't know what the word would be, but I'm glad they're bringing that back for this game.
Yeah.
What was the original question?
How does the short make you feel about the future of the campaign mode?
Well, I don't know if it's going to give us. I don't know if that's going to tell us much about the campaign mode of the game, but if you're talking about the story
the
itself...
The character that we see in this short...
You're right there, BB Nate? He's tired.
I'm pretty sure that
it's like 4:30.
4:30? Is it 4:30?
It's something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, the character we see, I'm pretty sure is the same character that we will be following in the game.
The Imperial, yes.
And this happens right before.
Okay.
So that's why it matters.
So this is like a prologue, sort of?
Yes. For that character, and then I'm pretty sure we're going to get another one.
So is this one of the characters that we're going to play in the game?
This is the Imperial character you play. And then there'll be I imagine they'll release a short like this, but for the
Rebel one.
New Republic pilot you'll play.
Not the one we saw in the...
No, he's
short.
kind of...
He's dead.
Smushed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So.
Okay. What do you think about it, BB Nate?
I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited for the campaign. I think it's going to be good. I'm more excited for the multiplayer, but that's the point. It's going to be multiplayer centered. But I think that the campaign is going to be good. It's going to be short. It's going to be sweet, and I hope that they don't kind of just say they have a campaign and don't do a lot on it and don't work well on it just to say that they have a campaign. Mm-hmm. So,
and I have a feeling the graphics are going to be pretty nice, too, judging by this short.
Is it possible that someday we get a whole series of animated stories that are in this same format? Because it was amazing.
I hope.
I mean, yeah, I don't see why not, but it takes a lot of manpower to create such a highly developed short like that. You know, it's different from an animated show because it's not as taxing. This is so detailed, they have to make it short like that. I mean, not a lot happened. There wasn't much dialogue or anything like that. It was just them flying around for the most part. But it was so detailed and there was so much to render that you have to make them in really short clips. So maybe like a mini series online for that could be possible.
I would love to see it. I thought it was great storytelling. It was beautiful. The space battles were almost indistinguishable from movie level or Mandalorian level stories. It was absolutely
you should really go watch the clip. Basically.
Yes. I would. Yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, take time to do it.
It's 7 minutes. Yeah. Like
Star Wars Squadrons is set to be released on a whole bunch of places: PlayStation 4, Windows PC, Xbox One, on October 2nd. We're just a couple weeks away, guys. Can you believe that?
It's next week.
Is it next week?
Yes. Next week.
No, today's only the 20th. We've got 11 days or 12 days.
It's well, I'm not saying it's within a week, but I am saying it is next week, Friday.
Okay. It's going to be compatible with virtual reality headsets. That makes me happy. On PC and PS4, and will support flight sticks and throttles on PC and
I hope the PS4
consoles.
throttles and will work, because if so,
people say it does.
I might just have to bite the bullet and buy it.
It absolutely does. Yeah.
Imagine that in VR.
All right, so we've gotten a closer look at Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge.
This is madness.
Yeah, that probably should bring that up since it's all based on C-3PO. This is from CBR.com. Star Wars fans will get the opportunity for an epic team-up with C-3PO in the upcoming VR experience Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge, arriving on Oculus Quest this holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And
Merry Boxing Day.
Merry Boxing Day. And Festivus for the rest of us. Okay. A gameplay teaser trailer for the upcoming title follows a droid repair technician who crashes on the faraway planet of Batuu, where he meets 3PO, revealing that he is on a top-secret mission with the Resistance. 3PO enlists the player for help as they navigate the dangerous Outer Rim world. The trailer gives us just a tiny, tiny bit of actual gameplay footage. What did you think about what you saw? I'll start with you, BB Nate.
I think it's going to be a very fun game, but there was one thing about the blaster mechanics in Vader Immortal. It's very hard to aim.
Well,
really hard.
Vader Immortal wasn't built around blasters.
No, and I understand that, but I'm excited for it, and I think it'll very much work. I think it's going to be great, but I do want to be able to repair droids. Like
have a little mini game kind of where you sit there and fix
pair droids and everything.
I bet you will.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it looks like a lot of fun. I really hope we get the opportunity to have a lot of gunplay in it, with different guns in Star Wars, because Star Wars is known. You know, if you've played the Battlefront games, especially Battlefront 1, you know there's a lot of different types of blasters for you to use. I hope we have access to all of them. I hope we have the big, heavy repeating blasters, Han Solo's blaster. I mean, all that. I want to be able to use all the guns. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks kind of RPG-ish, if you know what I mean, Nate.
I guess.
It's got it had an inventory bar and stuff, so you'll be able to have items on you and stuff, which I bet you'll be able to go back into Black Spire Outpost and trade with people to get parts or new weapons or things like that. So I think that'll be a really fun mechanic for a Star Wars game, especially in VR.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're going to have a lot more free play in this version than you do in Vader Immortal?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be linear.
No, go ahead.
I think there will be missions that once you start the mission, you're on you got to complete the mission. But I think otherwise you'll be able to go around and walk around and interact with things, explore.
I hope there's an ability to use vehicles, speeder bikes, something.
It depends on how large the map is, but if it's big enough to allow that, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, we already saw a trail and the foliage of Batuu, and not the outpost. So we're already getting more than that. So
it's going to be good. All right, last one. Say the best one for last.
You need a closing. You need to read the.
Oh, do I? I do have a closing statement, so I should read it.
See, I'm helping you. I'm here to help.
I have spoken.
Or should I do this one?
So you talk first. You talk first. I talk first.
Developed by ILMX Lab, which you guys again you're free to send us a copy. We have an Oculus already.
Yeah, I got the Quest.
Just send us a copy of it.
We'll beta test
try it out. We'll beta test it. We'll do a review on the show.
Non-spoilers. We won't reveal anything.
And if it's not good, we'll say it, but we'll be nice. But if it is good, we'll say
which
that
it probably
too.
is.
It's probably going to be amazing. Anyway, developed by ILMX Lab, Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge arrives on Oculus Quest this holiday season. All right. We're finally catching our breath. After watching the Season 2 trailer for The Mandalorian.
This is the way. This is the way. This is the way.
Just go to YouTube, find the trailer. Just find the trailer.
It's like not even 2 minutes long.
It's worth watching.
So we're just going to let you watch the trailer, and we're not going to talk about it.
We'll start 2 minutes of silence.
So
no, we're not doing that.
What?
Okay. So basically, instead of we did a whole video where we broke it down. The audio was weird. The video was weird. We had problems the whole time.
We tried to move everywhere.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah.
On it. But now we've watched it I've watched it like 6 or 7 times now.
I've watched
you guys
it twice.
I've watched it 3 or 4 times now.
All right. We're just gonna do. I'm gonna do a rundown now. Some questions.
Okay. All right.
I'll start with you, BB Nate. Who is Mando searching for? The Yoda species or the Jedi?
I think he thinks that the species is the Jedi. So the Jedi.
You think so? What do you think, Sam?
When Nathan puts it that way, it's kind of hard to see any other perspective. I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think it would have to be the species.
The species or the Jedi?
No, he says that he thinks that Yoda's species is the Jedi.
Okay, so he's not looking for like Yoda's family.
No,
Yoda, mom and daddy,
the Jedi.
Like Yaddle's cousins.
Yeah,
he's not looking for them.
No,
he's looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah,
or
I don't think he's getting
Ahsoka or Luke or
yeah.
What if they meet Cal Kestis trying to rebuild the Jedi Order?
That would be kind of cool.
That's how.
Especially because
in Fallen Order 2, we got Baby Yoda.
We have Baby Yoda
as a playable character. I want that.
Samuel the Hutt. We'll start with you on this one, and then Nick can answer it. The voiceover heard while we see Sasha Banks' hooded character is talking about the Jedi and sorcerers and wizards or all that weird stuff. Is this a clue as to the type of character that she's playing?
I think it's too obvious. Like, I don't think that I can't formulate sentences right now. So I think it's a red herring. I think we're being misled. I think she's just some character in a hood. I don't think that necessarily means that she's a Sith or a Jedi. Lots of characters wear hoods in Star Wars. I think they're just trying to throw us something to get us to speculate. I don't think that means that she's a Sith or anything.
I think it's a red herring, and I hope it's a red herring, because if it is, then that means that she might be Sabine, and I just want more rebels.
I don't see it.
I want more rebels. I think we need more rebels.
Who was it? I think it was John Hoey from the Resistance broadcast that tweeted out side-by-side photos of the same photo of Sasha Banks with the hood on it, but he has like what you see in the video,
right?
And they're like, could they be holding back some information because they don't want to tip their hand? But then the second picture has like those markings that
I don't think it's
Barriss Offee had, and it looks like the hood works. Could it be Barriss Offee?
Isn't she dead?
I don't think she is.
She's dead,
but she'd be way too young,
and it's
to be that because Barriss Offee's Clone Wars. This is after
the Empire.
And isn't she green?
Yeah.
Okay, I liked it,
but I can like the face structure works perfectly, but otherwise,
I
thought
it was a good idea.
I don't think it works.
You're wrong. It did have merit. It got me to think about it for a second, for sure.
All right, BB Nate, we'll start with you. Is it Ilum or not?
Yes, because if he's looking for the Jedi, then that is a point that he has to stop at. It is a place where the Jedi, every Jedi normally has to go there. It's a part of their journey, and so why wouldn't it be a part of his journey?
That's
I mean,
fair.
so it would make sense for him to go there. Why Alex Damon brought up a really great point in his video about this. He asked, why isn't the Empire there? And he says that they might have dropped it. And I'm like, that would make sense, because after Death Star 2 blowed up.
And after Death Star 2 blowed up, you know? All right, sorry.
Yes.
Why do you always do this with your mouth when you do
Because
it?
that's the only way I could talk like that. So I got to move my lips over to the side and talk a little bit funny.
Like
you know
Sylvester Stallone.
I got to talk like Sly. You know what I'm saying, man? You know? Anyway.
Say Adrian.
Yo, Andrew.
I can't do that. I can't do it on the spot. So anyway. What were you saying? I don't think you remember, do you?
Well, it's just after the Death Star 2 blew up, and I think that they might have dropped it because they're like, we're not making a third one. And then the First Order is like, let's make a third one. But they might just not be there. And there are markings and tombs of everything about the Jedi, and so...
And who's to say they didn't land in an area where the Empire didn't have an outpost
and
right
the
there.
Canyons and everything just point to Ilum. It's not Hoth. I don't think it's Hoth.
It doesn't look like Hoth.
It doesn't look like Hoth. It's not constantly...
I mean, it could be some never-before-seen planet.
Yes, it could be. But I don't think it's Hoth. I don't know of very many other snow planets that... I mean, Episode 1 Racer had a snow planet.
Yeah,
and I mean, the music that was playing for...
Have you guys bought that for me yet?
No. The Episode 1 Racer, the music that was playing during the race...
Do we have Bombad Racing yet?
No. We haven't got that yet.
On the Wii, I think. But it's the same music that is playing for Episode 1 Racer's Snow Planet. It was actually playing during the trailer.
Interesting.
At the Snow Planet.
You think it's Ilum, Sam?
I think it would make sense. I think... I don't know why they'd go to Hoth, of all things. There's really... I mean... There's no reason for them to go to Hoth, so I think it makes sense that Ilum would be there.
What about the planet that the Republic destroyer crashed onto with the 501st at the final Siege of Mandalore? It was a snow planet. We see Vader there. All of this. Could it be that Mando and Baby Yoda are looking for some remnant of the Jedi and come across that?
I mean, They could. We don't know hardly anything about that.
Is this a way to bring Ahsoka into the story?
That spot, no.
Why?
I don't think that she would go back to
Yeah,
that
there's
spot.
really no need for her to go back. I mean, again, we don't know much about that planet. Maybe that planet has some deep connection with the Jedi that we don't know. Do we even know the name of it?
I don't think we do.
Yeah, so like they very well could bring it in.
I mean, Ilum is known for if you're going to get a kyber crystal, which who knows? Baby Yoda might get a kyber crystal.
So the season 8 or season 2 episode 8 at the end, this
Baby
big
Yoda.
battle takes up, and all of a sudden, Baby Yoda pulls out like a 3-inch long hilt,
like this long,
a hilt that ignites to 1-foot saber, and
he starts doing flips,
starts doing like Attack of the Clones level Yoda stuff.
I need this now.
But there's always trials, and that's well known. If you're going to Ilum to get a kyber crystal, there's always going to be trials. And then we see that his ship is all torn up to heck and back. He doesn't have his backpack anymore, and so who knows?
Cool.
It might be Ilum.
All right, last one. I'll go with you, Samuel Hutt. What about everyone seeing this Boba Fett jetpack and helmet hanging from Mando's speeder as he races across Tatooine? Have you seen the pictures?
I've seen the pictures.
How do you feel about that?
It looks very much... I mean, granted, there's like 2 frames you can work with, and they're real grainy. But from what you see, it's clearly a helmet and clearly a jetpack, and they've got about the same color scheme as Boba Fett's. Maybe a little worn down.
But yeah, there's a heavy-set Mandalorian in the underground tunnels that had that same color armor as Boba Fett.
Yeah, but no jet... Well, he did have a jetpack.
It was... And I'm not
jetpack,
saying...
helmet, Tatooine,
I'm not saying that that's...
all of those ingredients together.
I know, but I'm not saying that that's his armor. I'm not saying that that's that Mandalorian's armor. I'm just like, it might be a popular color scheme.
Well, I think being on Tatooine, it adds it. But here's the thing. Be very, very careful, Sam. I know that you want it to be Boba Fett. Boba Fett. The reality is Cobb Vanth, which there's this huge rumor that Timothy Olyphant is playing Cobb Vanth on Tatooine, Freetown, all that stuff. He's supposed to have Boba Fett's armor. Is at least what we've been led to conclude based on the Aftermath novels. If it might not be Boba Fett that we see. It may be Cobb Vanth with that armor.
Well, that's not to rule out that we don't see Boba Fett in the series, though. Mm-hmm. Just he may not have the armor.
That's true. Well, we'll have to wait just a couple more weeks. I recommend checking out Star Wars Explained's breakdown of the trailer. I thought it was fantastic. You can just listen, guys. If you're a Star Wars fan and you're not subscribed to Star Wars Explained stuff, I mean, you're just not doing it right.
He gave us that poster, didn't he?
He did. He gave us the Battlefront 2 Han Solo Star Wars story, Millennium Falcon poster.
He's a cool guy.
He's awesome. Yeah. So, check it out. Star Wars, the season 2 of The Mandalorian premieres on what date?
October
30th.
October 30th. All right. So Count Dooku, he was a menacing Sith Lord and central figure in the Clone Wars. Once a Jedi trained by Yoda, he became disillusioned with the Jedi Order and thirsted for greater power. But was it really the corruption of the Jedi Order itself that led to the creation of Darth Tyrranus?
Bulky religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
All right, Samuel the Hutt.
That's me.
Initial Count Dooku thoughts. What do you think about this guy?
I think it's interesting to see like a royalty figure in Star Wars. You know, because you could argue Padme. She was definitely a royalty figure, but that was pretty short, and she wasn't like a Force user or anything. So it's interesting to see this Count of a really wealthy planet who's very influential in the galaxy, but he's also a Sith Lord. I think that's a really fresh character to see in Star Wars.
Awesome. BB Nate.
I'm forgetting the planet's name that he grew up on.
Serrano.
Serrano?
He didn't grow up on it.
No. He grew up on Coruscant, but his actual home planet.
Yes.
I love the story and not the upbringing, but what sent him down the path of the dark side in Jedi Lost. I love the idea of he's connected to this monster. Spoilers, but it's been out for 2 years. This monster underneath his home planet, and it's the dark side. And I love the concept of Count Dooku as being a Jedi, and he's not that bad of a bad guy, even when he's a Sith, and he doesn't think himself as a bad guy. He finds himself to be a Jedi. We even see this in Attack of the Clones when he captured. No, is it Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith? I think that's Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones.
He calls himself a Jedi. Every time he refers to himself, he refers to himself as a Jedi. So I love the concept and the character of Count Dooku.
Might be, without a doubt, my favorite character from the prequels. Which
above
is
like
above
McGregor's
Kenobi,
Obi-Wan.
Above Kenobi. I love Kenobi.
Wow.
But this is taking in the whole of the prequel era. Everything
talking about
involved,
Clone
not
Wars,
just
everything.
The films. If you're just going with films, Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi steals the show. Okay. If you're bringing in, just the Clone Wars itself, the series, the TV series, I still think that Kenobi steals the show. I loved Dooku Jedi Lost.
Yes.
I mean, I absolutely found that to be brilliant storytelling and helps me understand Dooku so much better. It changed the way I viewed him in the prequels and what he did. I wanted to go back and watch the prequels. I watch him differently when we see Clone Wars episodes with him in it. Everything is different about Count Dooku. Even going back, I know I talk about it on this show a lot, but even going back to the prequel novels, the version of Dooku in prequel novels is very similar to the version of the Dooku that we get in Dooku Jedi Lost, and I love that character. He's, without a doubt, one of my favorite characters in all Star Wars, and head and shoulders above the rest when it comes to the whole of the prequel era. So let's talk about him in these different areas. BB Nate, go first. Talk with a little bit about who he was like, what he's like in the prequels.
So yeah, in the prequels, he is, when people like casual Star Wars fans just see him in the prequels, they don't think much of him. They just think him as a side bad guy. Well, the bad guy in Attack of the Clones, because that's really the only
right. We have
version.
Maul in Phantom Menace, so we have to have Dooku in,
and then Palpatine in Episode 3. So he's not that big of a villain. But when you get into Dooku Jedi Lost, when you get into Clone Wars, it's a lot more of a fleshed out character, and you understand him more. In Attack of the Clones, he is a hidden Sith Lord. Nobody really, I mean, they know that he went to the dark side and he left the Jedi Order.
Do they know that he went to the dark side in Attack of the Clones?
I think it's very heavily. I think Kenobi senses it and understands it, especially when he's captured.
Okay.
But
I think they all just basically thought he just became the Count on Sereno and just kind of stopped.
But he is a hidden Sith Lord in Attack of the Clones, and he's, again, even though he is a Sith Lord, he is not that bad of a bad guy. He isn't a really bad villain. He's just, I'm not going to say he's misunderstood, because that's like where everybody goes to. I'm saying that he isn't as violent of a villain as Maul or even Palpatine.
Well, he's more plotting.
He is. He's a more strategic bad guy, and the thing is that I really don't like is that in Revenge of the Sith he just dies. He just gets killed at the beginning. I mean, and it helps with this story to move it forward that he's betrayed by his master, and that helps move Palpatine forward. But I really wanted Count Dooku more in the movies, especially. I loved the idea of Count Dooku, and I love him more in the prequels now that I've listened to Dooku Jedi Lost, that I've seen the Clone Wars. I love him more in the prequels, but I just think that if we got a little bit more of him, I wouldn't have complained. So,
Samuel the Hutt, Clone Wars series.
It's interesting to see more of him in like this in-between stage. So we've seen a fair bit of him before he turned or left the Order. He wasn't even like dark side at that point. He just left the Order at the end of Jedi Lost. So it's interesting to see him before, and then we see a bit of him, during that time. But it's never really fleshed out that much in the movies. Again, he's just a little bit in Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones, and then a little bit in Revenge of the Sith. But in the Clone Wars, we really get to see his thought process and why he's doing what he's doing. I mean, he's not only a political leader. I mean, he's the political head of the Separatists trying to take over the galaxy at this point, right? I mean, we know that he's really being controlled by Sidious at this point. But he's the face of the Separatist movement. But behind all that, he's got another agenda. He's still trying to take over Palpatine's place. Well, yes, he's being controlled by Palpatine. He's doing the Sith thing you do, and he's trying to take him over. So he takes apprentices like Asajj and Savage, very similar names, and he's still trying to take it over. But we see that he's just selfish the whole way through. We see that not only is he trying to take over the galaxy, but he's trying to, for his master, but he's also trying to usurp his master at the same time.
Do you think that there's an element, and I would probably have thought this more before Dooku Jedi Lost than afterwards, but do you think there's an element in the Clone Wars of Dooku trying to overcome the Emperor for almost good reasons, like go dark in order to take over the Emperor? I don't think it's the case when you get through Jedi Lost, but in the Clone Wars, do you get that feel at all?
I think that he left the Jedi Order because he doesn't agree with their morals and what they do, and they're hypocritical, and I think that he had good reason to leave the Jedi Order. Do I think that he just went dark side to take over Palpatine? No. Do I think that if he did take over Palpatine, he would stay in power? That's a different question that's harder to answer, because I don't know if he would. I know he doesn't seem like a ruler of the galaxy kind of guy. He just seems like he would care for the people more than anything. He cares for the people. That's who he is. And so I don't think that he would take over Palpatine and stay in power. Would he just go to the dark side to take over Palpatine and then switch back to the light? I don't think that's what would happen. Would he take over Palpatine, have no more Sith Lord in power, and then just let there be no Sith? Maybe, but I don't think he would go back to the light side. Okay. That's just no.
That's interesting. I've already expressed how much I really am fascinated with the larger story of Dooku that we get in Dooku Jedi Lost, because we basically get his entire arc, and we understand who he is. We understand this fear of his family on Sereno, the Count of Sereno, rejecting him because of the history of the Sith and on the planet of Sereno, and the fear of any Jedi, any Force user. To where he's rejected and basically thrown out of the seats, and Yoda's called and said, if you want this kid, come get him, but otherwise he's basically going to die. That's the way his story starts, and he's raised, and then he finds out who his family is. He finds out about all of this, and he's got this unbelievable power. The thing that's interesting about Dooku in Jedi Lost is that he's a true believer. He is all about the Jedi. He is fully committed to the light side of the Force, and to righteousness, and to justice, and to doing things that are I think the scenes that you see this are mostly it's set up with Sifo Dyas, when Sifo Dyas starts having these visions of this planet that's going to have this catastrophic moment where everybody, countless are going to die. There's going to be all these fires, and the Jedi Council and the Senate refuses to act. And they don't believe Sifo Dyas' visions, and then they start coming true. And Jedi and Dooku starts to understand that there are things about the Force that they're not teaching within the Jedi Order, that they won't allow him to understand. And Sifo Dyas keeps having these visions, and then Sifo Dyas and then it kind of comes to a head again at the end of the book, not with Sifo Dyas specifically, but when his sister comes back begging him to come back to Sereno and help with their brother that's become this evil despot, and these attacks that are going against them, and all this stuff that's going on. They refuse. The Jedi Council once again refuses to help, and so Dooku sees things very black and white. There's right and there's wrong, and the Jedi Order is not doing the right thing. And then they don't care about Sereno. They don't care about the planet. They don't care about the people until Dooku goes and saves the people, saves the planet. In the process, they find out that this planet has this unbelievable mineral, this resource on the planet that's extremely valuable. And now suddenly everybody in the Jedi Order and the Senate's like, yeah, we're going to come help all you guys all you want. And that's what sets him off. Mm-hmm. That's when he decides, I cannot have anything. And yes, is there dark side moments throughout this story?
Yes,
a ton of them for him. But that's the moment when he realizes that there's this hypocrisy within the Jedi Order. There's this, we don't care about your planet thing unless it's something that benefits us. And it's what sets him down this path. And of course, Sidious is being Sidious, and he's using it against him.
Okay, I have a question. If that other master, the master that Dooku wanted to train with, do you think that...
I can't remember her name. I had it just a second ago.
Do you think that if she actually chose him, would he not be Darkseid? Do you think that he would still be in the Jedi Order?
That's a great question, because this... is it Lynn Castano or something like that?
Yeah, Lynn Castano.
Lynn Castano. She's the one that's training Sifo Dyas. She takes Sifo Dyas and she's got this, I have to understand the dark side. I have to understand the Sith. We have to understand what they've done, because they're evil and we need to know what we're up against.
Right.
And so she's obsessed with the dark side from that perspective. And there's this dark side within Dooku that's just fighting. He's fighting against, instead of understanding how to deal with it. And maybe Lynn Castano, that's a good question, BB Nate. Maybe Lynn Castano could have helped him learn how to process the darkness within him and deal with the darkness within him.
Because she had darkness within her too.
She did, but she never went dark side.
No.
With it, she was definitely not the right master for Sifo Dyas, because she can't help Sifo Dyas with his visions. Throughout this, it's a really good question. Any other thoughts on Dooku Jedi Lost?
No, I think y'all pretty well summed it up.
All right, so
it's a good book.
It's a great book. You should check it out. For this week's Dad moment,
I am your father.
We're just gonna this if you watch this or listen to this show. We're Christian. We believe that Jesus Christ was more than just a religious teacher. He's the Son of God, and we believe in His church. And this is hard at times, because many. Within this organized Christian church, this religion, we see corruption, and they've a lot of times turned what we believe is biblical faith into something very distorted, and that can often cause disillusionment within us. Because these fallen humans fail to live up to the principles of our faith doesn't make the faith the problem. We're the problem within it, and it should cause us to seek to be better and not to actually not abandon our faith. Anyway, next week we'll talk about that. If we're going to talk about bad guys, we haven't talked about Palpatine. What are we doing? So
yeah, he's kind of important.
Yeah, Darth Sidious is where we're going. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Anything else?
So Luke Skywalker fought the ghosts of the Grand Inquisitor. This was in the comics.
Explain. I know.
So, we know that the Grand Inquisitor, again, wasn't that really bad of a bad guy. I mean, he even turned good at the end.
Well, he was obviously originally a Jedi.
He was originally a Jedi Temple Guard, and he didn't he turn good at the end? I don't remember.
I don't think
it's been a long time since I've seen Rebels.
Pretty dead.
Yes. But when he's dead, Darth Vader actually brings him back from the dead to be kind of a ghost that can take physical form. And right after he fights Luke Skywalker, Grand Inquisitor's like, "Can you let me die now?" He's like, "Can you let me go?" And he says, "No, you'll be a tool for me later." And I
think we need to start getting these Darth Vader
comics.
And
he said that, and the Inquisitor said that there are worse things than death, and this is one of them.
Wow.
Being undead, basically.
Yeah.
And a tool for Vader.
Yeah, and speaking of the Darth Vader comic series, we're actually going to see Darth Vader meet the Webbish Bog, that spider that was originally going to be at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker.
And isn't that the spider in Lords of the Sith? Am I thinking of the right one?
No, I don't think so. There was supposed to be this big spider that Kylo Ren confronts on Mustafar when he gets the Wayfinder. On that, and they cut that. It's actually in the novelization, but they cut it from the movie. Well, Darth Vader's gonna be on Mustafar and meet the Webbish Bog.
There's so much that we missed in Rise of Skywalker.
I know. That'll be coming out this December in Darth Vader number 8.
Yep. And then Penny McCarthy, who played multiple Cantina characters in A New Hope, died this week.
Yeah. She played that. What was that one species?
Davaronian, I think.
Yeah.
The devil-looking horn.
That's
things.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Iconic character as far as visually going from the story. With that. All right, that's cool. All right,
so please give us a review on iTunes and Google Podcasts and whatever podcatcher that you use. It will very much help us, and it definitely helps people find the show if you give us a review. We haven't had one in a long time, and we're losing our confidence. So please give us a review. And if it also helps if people do look at the podcast.
And if you do a review to make sure that we know that you did it, it's really awesome if you can just take a screenshot of it, tweet it to us at Tatooine Sons. It'll help us to make sure that we know it.
And we'll read it on the air if it's not full of bad words and it's positive.
Yeah, if it's positive and not bad, not going to make us curse. All right.
All right, and then while you're at it, go ahead and follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all at Tatooine Sons, SONS. And then be sure to join our discussion group on Facebook. It's Tatooine Sons Discussion Group. And that'll allow you to see content that you wouldn't be able to normally see on other platforms. Helps you interact with us. You can share your stuff. And it just helps you shape our show in a way. So
absolutely, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot.
We've had some audio issues, but we're getting a little bit closer with it. We're going to figure out what's going on. I don't know if it's internet or computer issues right now, so we'll check it out. But maybe next weekend we'll try to do this all over again. Maybe we can do better.
Yeah.
So anything else you guys want to say?
Mm-hmm. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.
Please.
All right.
Oh, it didn't work.